So this time last year, my production company was in a position where we had lost over $150,000 worth of contracts. Clients were leaving. We were in a really bad place. And I'll be honest with you, we didn't know if we would make it through that. And we didn't even know how long we could sustain something like that. This was one of the biggest learning curves that I've ever had in business. And to remind you guys, if you haven't seen the videos on the channel about this, I wanted to be super transparent and honest with you, because it's all very well us celebrating the successes all the time. But actually, when we learn the most is when we learn from failures. I would even go as far as saying that actually you don't really learn anything from when you succeed. You actually only learn from the failures that you have in business. So the more transparent I can be, the more that it can help many of you out there who are perhaps experiencing similar things, or at least you can learn how to avoid those problems to make sure they never happen. What we effectively did is we were so busy with work. We had lots of contracted clients onto our retainer systems and things were busy, and that's fantastic. But as a result, we neglected the key fundamental of any business, and that's the sales pipeline. We weren't doing any new sales. We weren't generating leads, outreaching to people, because we were just too busy doing work. I saw this video the other day and it summarized it really well. It said that don't confuse movement with progression, because you could be running on the spot and making no progress. And that's exactly what happened to us. We were just busy, so we thought we were moving in the right direction. Our revenue figures were the highest that they had been, but we were sacrificing our future by not just zooming out for a second and taking a holistic view of our business and the direction it was heading for. Of course, one thing led to another. A couple of clients left us, and most of these clients leaving wasn't anything that we were doing. It was just a case that either we had outgrew them and they could no longer afford it, or it was a situation with their own businesses where a couple of them ended up ceasing to trade. They had to close their businesses. And of course, we're talking about a really turmoil economic climate following COVID and the impact that that had on businesses in the years to follow. This was undoubtedly one of the darkest and saddest points of running my business. I've got a team of people, they've got families and mouths to feed and bills to pay. And not only that, I obviously have my own family as well. But there was one thing that was for certain. As a team, we were going to do everything we could to work together to get us out of this place and try and keep the business alive. So in this video, I want to talk about what we changed, some more things that we tried and didn't work and where we lost some more money, but also the things that did work and actually how we can still be here today, and also what we've got planned for the future. So following all of this series of bad events happening, we all got together as a team and we started to map out how can we get back on track. Now, in a small business, we all have to wear a lot of hats, the same as you might do as a solopreneur. If you're working on your own, you have to be the marketing person, the salesperson, the filmer, the editor, the account manager, all of these things in one. So I needed everyone to get behind where could we basically generate more revenue, get some new clients in to replace the ones that were no longer with us, and how could we keep moving the business forward. And very simply put, we just came up with what we called our battle plan. Our battle plan listed out the months over the next year, so from January right the way through to December, and we started to set goals and targets for each month to get an idea of, okay, what would be feasible? And once we had those goals, we went one step further and worked out what do we need to do to achieve those goals. So obviously the first one was to sign some more clients. So we had to make it specific. How many clients? Well, let's just start with one. So in order for us to get to one client, what do we need to do that? So once we had that, we had to work out what strategy we were going to use. So were we going to go down the route of cold calling, emailing, DMing, or attending trade shows, networking events, conferences, those kind of things. And then that started to build out a plan of what did we need to do by a week by week and a day by day basis to make that goal happen. Having that battle plan meant that everyone on the team was kept accountable, and it also gave us a clear roadmap of, okay, well, that's logically how we get from where we are here to getting the first client, second, third, fourth, etc., etc. Now, one area where businesses often overlook, but we were on this from the start, is actually looking at your existing structure. How do you deal with clients, and what are the missed opportunities that you have within your business? For example, when you look at your process and you really start to break this down into speaking to the client at the very start, all the way through to giving them their project and sending them the invoice, what are the stages that are taken? And where are we losing money? And these are simple things that I would advise any business to now look at. And that's, are the projects delivered on time, or are they taking you longer to edit? And are you charging for that editing? Because we found ourselves in a situation where we were so eager to please and so busy with work that the edits might take a little bit longer than we had perhaps quoted, but we weren't charging any more. And we were spending an extra day or two on those projects to make sure that they were perfect. And then that was basically rinsing our availability, our time allowance, that where we can dedicate more time to generating sales, and actually just meant that we were over delivering, which was destroying our profit margins. And this isn't about charging for every second that you work with a client and not being flexible. This is all about finding that win-win solution. There were other areas, such as when we did a video project for someone, we were just turning them into verticals for Instagram and for TikTok. If a client said, could you just create a quick 30-second clip for us on this vertical? Is that something you could do? We would just say, yeah, that's fine. We can do that. It won't, it would take us half an hour, maybe to an hour. But that was still time out of our day that we now needed to spend on sales, but also it was time that we weren't actually charging for. So following on from that, we really started to work out where were the pitfalls in our business, where were the things that we were doing and acting like a small company when actually they are very much chargeable, and that's what other people were doing. But how could we do it in such a way that ensures the client doesn't feel like we're just constantly charging them more and more and more? And that came down to our scope of work document. Scope of work document is the most simple document that we could create that outlines the project brief, the deadlines, the deliverables, what's needed, graphics, etc. Is it going on mobile or going on laptop? Are verticals needed? And we can work through this document with the client on one of our initial calls. So at the very start of the process, we work through the document with that client, and every time they tick something, then we know that that starts to add more on. And we can also handle expectations a lot better as a result. So we might have a project where we say, look, with the editing, we don't really know. It might be 2 days, it could be 3 days. We would then give them a ballpark figure based on those two factors. So then if the project did go over, we would give them an update before the 2 days was up, and just to say, hey, this looks like it's going to go over, but you should already be prepared for that because we've spoken about it in the past. And it just meant that we had much better conversations with our clients as a result. That was fundamentally one of the biggest changes that meant that our systems and processes run so much smoother, and we were actually getting paid for the work that we were doing, and we didn't fall into this trap that a lot of small businesses do of just saying yes, 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 or their clients leaving them because they actually end up just saying, yeah, that's going to cost you this, that's going to cost you extra, that's going to cost you extra, that's going to cost you extra. That's not a very nice place for a client to be either. So we found a really nice win-win solution by doing so. I then spent some time with a business mentor, because surrounding yourself with like-minded people and actually learning from people who have been through a similar thing to you in the past is really effective. Someone that you can go to and get answers from instantly and help you overcome those challenges together. And I know that I act as a mentor to many of you, or particularly to the 500 plus members we've got inside our Perspective Academy, which is an online program dedicated to helping filmmakers and video editors with the business side of that industry. But for me, I need a mentor that's further ahead than where I am that I can learn from. So I went out and I did that, and I actually looked at a mentor in a different industry so I could learn from what other people were doing to solve similar problems. And one of the key things they said to me was, do more of what works and less of what doesn't. Now that's really simple, and you think, well, that's easy. Yeah, let's just do more of what works. But sometimes you don't know what's going to work and what's not. And that's when we started to position these things in a research and development stage. By positioning it as, instead of we're going to go and do this and hope it works, we're going to try this thing for the next 2 or 3 months, and then we're going to do a review. Once we review it, we will look at the data and we will say, Was that successful or not? Do we need to continue doing it or do we stop? And by putting that process in place meant that it mentally shifted our mindset from this kind of hope strategy, hoping something would work, to, well, let's try it. Let's test this. Let's look at the data, see what that's saying. And we would be doing that with things like email campaigns, networking, go into trade shows and events and things like that. And we can review it at each point to say, is this working for us or not? Now, of course, along this journey, we also had other setbacks. So we hired a sales team and that didn't quite work the way we had hoped. Now, of course, along this journey, we also had some other setbacks. So things that we had tried and didn't quite work out. We brought an internal sales team in to help us and that didn't actually work quite well. They just weren't the right fit and didn't gel with our business. And that's really important. When you're growing a business, whether you're using freelancers, you're outsourcing work, or you're hiring a team of people, is to make sure you get people that really fit with what you're doing and can not only see your vision and be on board with that, but actually understand your industry, especially when it comes to sales. But nothing is truly a failure if you learn from it. And that's what we did. We just learned from that point in time. Yes, it wasn't the ideal outcome that we were hoping for. And it's not to say that hiring an internal sales team in the future won't work for us. But now we've learned from that process what we actually need in our business. And that's when we actually brought on an account manager, because we noticed that through mapping out our systems and processes, our key staff members who should be focused on growing the business or actually focused more on film projects and things like that, they were getting pulled away and spending so much time doing account management. So when we brought on our account manager, that was something we identified as a huge positive because it freed up so much of our personal time. I'm not particularly articulate. I don't enjoy writing emails. I actually find it really difficult to do that. And it takes me a lot of time to do it. Whereas actually bringing on an account manager has helped reduce that workload for me. Our clients get much more value because they actually have someone that they can deal with directly and someone who is always on the ball. Their job role is to quite literally look after the client and also to find more opportunities within the projects we're working on, or to help their businesses achieve their goals too. So there's two things on the back of that I think, again, every business should do, no matter what position you're in right now, whether you're just starting or you've been going for a while, if you have a team of people or it's just you. And that is to start to map out a structure of your business. How many hats do you wear? What different departments are there? Marketing, account management, sales, the actual fulfillment, filming, editing, photography, drone work, finances, all of those things. When you start to map that out, you can start to see what you're good at and what you're not good at, where you're losing time and perhaps where there's new opportunities. And then you can develop what's called a freelancer matrix. It's something I've spoken about on this channel before, but a freelancer matrix is really useful because it not only works with creative people, but also people that you might want to outsource certain tasks to. So, for instance, you might want to bring on a virtual assistant to deal with some of your invoicing, to speed up that part of your process. You might want to bring on a part-time account manager, perhaps, to look after some of those clients, or part-time sales, or of the most traditional sense that we talk about using a freelancer matrix for on this channel is, of course, building out a network of other freelance filmers, photographers, and editors that you can use on a per project basis. Once you know who they are, you understand the quality of their work and how much they're charging, then actually you can look at some projects and think, my time would be better spent actually growing the business over here. So I'm going to utilize these guys for this project. Yes, I'm going to make a little bit less money, but ultimately I don't have to be as involved. And maybe you can just do the account management. The reason I love doing these kind of videos is because they are just truly authentic to the problems and challenges that we faced in business. And I really hope that just a couple of you will learn from our mistakes, and this will help you avoid those mistakes by implementing some of these things, from the scope of work document to mapping out your systems and your processes, as well as, the freelancer matrix and your organizational kind of structure. If you are getting some value out of this video, then I would love to hear about that in the comments. Let me know what's the thing that you resonate with the most or you appreciated me sharing with you, and I would certainly love to hear what you have to say. So there's some of the things that we implemented, and here we are a year on. We're about to have our best year on record, and things are running way smoother than they ever have done in the past. I would actually say we are much more busier now than when we were a year or two ago, but actually it doesn't feel like it. Because we've gone through this process, we've created our systems, we actually flow through our work and our projects really easily. Everyone has an understanding of how the business operates and works, and the clients have a clear understanding from the beginning too of what the expectations are, and we can take them through that journey pretty seamlessly. And not only is our revenue growing, but more importantly than our revenue, our profit margins are growing massively too. And profit margins growing isn't so much always about how much you're spending. It can often be about how long are you taking on projects, how much are you charging, and how much work do you actually have. And by looking into each one of these areas, it's really helped us to excel. We've got through the hard times. I'm sure there will be more in the future, but we're ready to take them head on. And we know and we're confident in our ability as a business that whatever challenge faces us, we're going to do our absolute most to make sure that we can get through it. I really hope that this video has helped you think about your future and start to map out what that might look like so that you have the best chance of success. If you're interested to know how we sign up some of our clients onto our long-term retainers, which is basically a way where we get them paying us a set fee every month in return for our services. And that's fantastic because it provides us with a predictable cash flow. It means that we always know we've got that money coming in every single month, and it provides us with that security. If that's something that you'd be interested in finding out more about, I'll leave a link below to our free training. It's around about an hour or two, so make sure you check out some time, find a time slot that works for you, and carve out that time for that training. Honestly, it's packed full of value. You won't be disappointed, and we get straight to the points that you can learn how to implement that into your business to provide a bit more stability. Again, I'll link that below, so make sure you check that out. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Until next time, peace.